The Clarity Act inflows have arrived. XRP and other of our favorite digital assets starting to move up as Elizabeth Warren is yelling, doing her bidding for the banks as they mark up the Clarity Act in the Senate Banking Committee. Can we get it out of committee today? That's what we're going to be watching out for. And I will be back live tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern for a full breakdown and synopsis of what took place in the Senate today. So make sure you have subscribed, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our content and that you make it back tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. The live shows are back Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Let's see you there. Okay, let's roll. Now, yesterday the market went down because inflation's coming in hot. CPI comes in at 3.8% and the PPI comes in at 6%. Now, the Fed Collins says inflation risks keep policy restrictive, i.e., we can't cut rates while inflation's still running hot. Is this just a couple months and a little anomaly based off of the situation in the Middle East, or is this going to continue? This is what we'll be watching. Yesterday, Kevin Warsh was confirmed as the Fed chairman, so he'll be coming into that role this month. It's going to happen, but we have Jerome Powell stepping aside as the chair and still staying on as a governor. So will we be able to get rate cuts? That's the big question. That's why the market went down yesterday. But as the Clarity Act markup starts this morning, we catch a little pump, a little pumpy. 81,500. Who's feeling a little pump right now, huh? Nothing to get us excited. Nothing to get us excited. 81,500 for Bitcoin. That's nice to see. $1.47 for XRP. It's nice to see. But we're still trading within that range that we've been in for the past couple months. And so I don't expect any excitement. I'm not going to give you any excitement until we break out of that range. And that's about in, 83 to 85,000 Bitcoin. If we can break above that, it starts to get interesting. But for now, this nice little pump that we have this morning is good. Will it last is the question. And how long is the markup going to last as we go through all of the amendments that Elizabeth Warren is pushing? I posted a tweet this morning taking a screenshot of the Senate Banking Committee markup, and I said, yelling, Warren's already yelling at us. And most of her, I think all of her amendments so far have been shot down. So she's going to fail in her effort to do the bidding of the banks. And we are going to get the Clarity Act. It's just a matter of how long is she going to make this process? How painful is she going to make this process? Burgess Everett reports late last night that Senator Kennedy tells Semaphore he will vote for the crypto market structure bill tomorrow in the banking committee, meaning it will get out of committee regardless of what the Dems do. So, if they want to debate all day long, they want to make it a 2-day markup, they can do that. We'll go live tonight and we'll see whether or not it got finalized. Once this markup is completed, though, it moves out of the Senate Banking Committee to a full Senate vote. After the full Senate vote, we reconcile with the House version of the bill that was passed last year. The Senate finally getting their act together a year later. And then once both bills are reconciled into the same Clarity Act that we're calling and referring this bill, right? Once we get that same bill, then it can head off to President Trump's desk for signing. So progress underway. And this, guys, this is the whole point of the video. XRP Clarity Act inflows is that it's buy the rumor, sell the news on all of these events every single time. Every single time. I mean, you're going to get that buy the rumor, that pump before it gets passed, and then you're going to get a sell-off. If President Trump, God willing, does get to sign this into law on our 250th anniversary, July 4th, Clarity Act gets signed, mark my words, the market's going to come back down. You're going to have a little bit of a sell-off. But are we going to have a sell-off after Bitcoin's already claimed 100K? A sell-off after XRP's already blasted back up past $2? Maybe even higher, right? I'm just being conservative here. But we are going to see a run-up before the Clarity Act gets signed into law. I've been yelling from the rooftop that was going to be the case. A lot of people are still doubting me because we've seen months of consolidation and chop sideways with little progress on the Clarity Act. But now that it's starting to move, right? Now that the Senate banking is marking it up, you start to see those inflows return. And we're seeing that into Bitcoin. We're seeing that into XRP. Now, where we're not seeing flows come into is in the government bond yields. And this is where it gets concerning. In the crypto space, Clarity Act, pump it up. Pro Crypto Fed, pump it up. It's all great. It's all fine and dandy. The problems around us, though, are what we have to worry about. Now, this is the president and director of SBI Global Asset Management. Says Japan's government bond yields continue to rise without stopping, finally entering the danger zone. And we'll be watching, all eyes on Japan. It is difficult to simultaneously maintain low interest rates, stability in the yen exchange rate, and free capital flows for the yen carry trade, and that balance is highly likely to begin collapsing. If changes have already started, the impact will not be confined to Japan, but will also spread to global markets. Why do you think Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent stopped off in Japan before he headed to China? And let's put all this together, right? We have President Trump with Elon Musk, Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, Tim Cook from Apple, right? All the CEOs making this big deal to go work on trade, to go work on Iran, go work on some of these issues, opening up the strait. President Trump now saying that China is willing to help open up the strait. Is it actually true? Do we want to take President Trump on his word on that? Yeah, I don't know how much value. The market's not really reacting to that with oil really doing anything right now. We're just getting new all-time highs in the stock market indices, and we're seeing a pump on Bitcoin right now. But we're seeing just a steep, sharp sell-off in the treasuries, both in the United States and Japan, and this is where the problems lie. The 10-year yield now up to 2.6% in Japan. That 20-year, you get out on the curve here. The 20-year up to 3.5%. The 40-year up to 4.1%. This is not good. In the 10-year up to danger levels, we went up to 4.5% yesterday on the U.S. 10-year bond. Not good. And the 20 broke above 5%, and the 30 broke above 5%. This is the first time since the great financial crisis back in 2007 that the United States government has sold 30-year bonds above 5%. Are you ready for 7% and 8% mortgages? Were you expecting to have a hot spring selling season in real estate? I hope that you weren't, because it ain't coming. Okay. The market's scared to death to spend any money right now, right? But we're starting to see the rotation trickle in, because you get the Clarity Act coming in, those flows start to move. And we're talking about flows back into the XRP ETFs. Have seen its largest inflow of funds in about 4 months. Now, this is, by the way, the same managing director from SBI, Tamayo Asakura. The XRP ETF has seen its largest inflow of funds in about 4 months. In addition to progress in regulatory frameworks, this indicates that XRP's practicality in the field of international remittance and payments is being reevaluated, strengthening investor confidence. If an ETF is established early in Japan as well, an expansion in fund inflows from both individuals and institutions can be expected. They're moving, and they very much understand this situation. And I believe that SBI is going to be critical with their stablecoin work to expand adoption and use of the Japanese yen. Stablecoins are going to be key to expand US dollar adoption and reserve currency status to be maintained. Stablecoins are going to be key. It's the same thing over there as it is right here. Both central banks backed into a corner, fiscal deficits running hot, record debt levels. The solution's simple. You scare the ever-living crap out of the market back into your bonds with war, with tariffs. On the other side of that, you drive adoption and demand to treasuries through stablecoins. That's the 1-2 punch, right? That's the solution. And we've already talked about how President Trump's willing to sacrifice that stock market. So enjoy your 50,000 Dow. Enjoy a NASDAQ nearly at 30,000. Your S&P 500 just went to 7,500. And I hope that you're enjoying it, because the music's still going. The party's still going for now. But we see the issues under the surface level, and they're concerning. Now, speaking of flows, the 401k flows are slowing. And we're talking about every 2 weeks, paychecks pouring billions into 401ks, IRAs, and other managed accounts, but that's starting to slow up. The cash buys index funds buy the stocks, the index rises, and rising prices attract more cash. A positive feedback loop on the way up. It's a good party, drinks are flowing, music's jamming. But now, Uh-oh, the tap just went dry. In reverse, redemptions force selling. The index drops. More redemptions follow. It's a downward spiral. The down phase is faster and more violent than the up phase, and monthly inflows just stalled at 82 billion. 11,200 Americans hit 65 every single day, and the class of 2026 is the third weak grad cohort in a row. With low productivity young adults on the sidelines and low productivity boomers retiring, less inflows make sense. Cleaner numbers are set to print on June 2nd. Watch the 401k flows. Where does the money want to go now? Right? We don't want to pile into the indices at all-time high. I can't blame investors, right? We are seeing inflows return and start to ramp up into the XRP ETFs. We're starting to see the inflows return to digital assets. We're starting to see gold and silver still holding up, these alternative investments, right? And so it's not that investors aren't investing anymore in those, in their 401ks, in their IRAs. They're just changing where those allocations are going towards. They're not going into the indices anymore. Now they have the option of the XRP ETF. And with our sponsor, I Trust Capital, you have the option to just buy crypto directly without any ETF, without having to pay AUM fees. It blows my mind. We enter crypto, and here we are, people are still paying AUM fees. Now, the whole idea of crypto was to get away, to be your own bank, to remove middlemen. And here folks are still choosing to pay AUM fees. And in some instances, people can only get exposure to these assets through the ETF. But that's why we partnered up with I Trust Capital, because that doesn't need to be the case for you. You can open up the I Trust Capital IRA today and start buying and selling crypto, gold, and silver 24/7 with no monthly fee, no cost, free institutional grade custody, and not only on their IRA product, the premium custody account, and the treasury for your business, your nonprofit, or your trust, that LLC. You got a plumbing company that wants to start holding XRP or Bitcoin, we got you covered. Precious metals got you covered. Use my link down below to get that $100 funding bonus. But we bring this back to the flows, right? The flows are now moving. Nobody wants to buy S&P 500 at 7,500. Nobody wants to buy Dow Jones at 50,000, right? What's the upside on that? Meanwhile, you can move into these digital assets where we're debating, are we going to catch a 3x, a 5x, or a 10x on XRP this bull run? Some people say even more. I'm excited to find out. It's going to be a lot of fun. CME Group and NASDAQ announced launch of crypto index futures tracking Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, Cardano, Link, and XLM in a single contract. All of this access is opening up, and XRP becomes the most traded asset on South Korea's Upbit with 110 million in 24-hour volume, surpassing Bitcoin and Ethereum. So not only are we seeing XRP more traded than Bitcoin and ETH over in Korea on Upbit, we've also been tracking how XRP inflows into the ETFs there continued despite outflows in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Interesting setup forming. Lots of issues that we face, but where is the opportunity? That's what every investor, every person running away from their national fiat currency, right? Outside of America, inside of America, we're asking, where is their opportunity? Where can I find some alpha? Right. And the answer lies in the digital asset space. It relies in money that's been respected for thousands of years, gold and silver. This is why we partner up with platforms that allow us to access it in free institutional grade custody. This is why we continue to pour every last dollar that we can afford to in these markets, because we are going to front run the flows that are just now starting to pick up. You're getting a glimpse into the future. The bull run will return. XRP $2, $3, $4, $5 and beyond will happen. Don't be that guy that gets left behind because you're still taking advice from the traditional investment advisors that tell you everything's fine. Don't move it. Just keep rolling it over. Keep rolling it back in to the indices at all-time highs and keep on listening to the music playing. We know the music's about to stop. We know the keg's about to run dry. And we're going to exit the party gracefully before that happens. We're going to go start our own little party, and it's called the 2026 Bull Run. So I hope you guys are staying locked in. Come on back tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern for the live show. Full breakdown of the Clarity Act today. Will the inflows continue? Full coverage of that tonight. We'll see you there. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.